I'd like to begin the interview with asking you to please introduce yourself.
So I'm Clint Hocking, and I'm the creative director on Far Cry 2.
Okay. Now I have a question for you. Was that trailer in-game?
That trailer is a non-HD version of the trailer. I don't know why, but there you go. Yes, it is all in-game footage except for the the one shot that's cut 3 times of the figure walking from the sunset towards the camera. That was a CG element. Although that sequence uses in-game animation for the walking animation of the character, data that we mocapped. So yeah, the environment is mocapped, but is CG, but the animation is in game.
Wow, that's amazing, and the trailer is incredibly amazing. Now, what I want to ask you about the trailer is because you seem to be teasing us about the story, you're telling us a little bit, but you're hiding a lot. Can you tell us more about the story today?
Well, I don't want people to mistake what you're getting for the story, about the story, for teasing people. The reason we don't talk a lot about the story is because the story is dynamic. The story is part of gameplay. The high-level story is that you've been sent to this sort of Central African state to hunt down and assassinate an arms dealer who's selling guns to these 2 factions that have sort of torn this country apart. They're the APR, which is the Alliance for Popular Resistance, and the UFLL, which is the United Front for Liberation and Labor. And these 2 guys are just at each other's throats, perpetuating this conflict. This guy's selling guns to them, and you've been sent here by parties unknown and unnamed to assassinate him. That's it. Beyond that, the story is really a dynamic narrative that's assembled based on the characters that are available to you, based on who you've met in the world, based on who's alive and who's dead. The warlords, their captains, their lieutenants, the 12 buddy characters are all sort of dynamically populated into the script as suits the needs of the drama, and also as based on the relationships between the characters and your reputation within the game. So I know that sounds really complicated and confusing, and maybe doesn't make good print because it's kind of hard to talk about that kind of stuff. But the idea is, the way I talk about it is by saying, would Mario Brothers be a better game if jumping on a turtle was a very close call every single time, and we would just force it to be a very close call every single time you jumped on a turtle? Wouldn't I rather watch a movie of a guy jumping on a turtle? No, that's what we want to play, is jumping on or over turtles and making those decisions. That's what a game is. It's making decisions. So we did the same thing with our story. You make decisions about who you care about whether they live or die, and they make decisions about whether you live or die. And that's how you build relationships in this game, and those relationships pay off in the end, or backfire, depending on the kind of relationships they are, I guess.
Okay, and you mentioned this arms dealer, I think the Jackal?
The Jackal, yes. He's called the Jackal. We don't know his real name, but the Jackal is, he's an arms dealer. He's certainly profiting off of this conflict, but there's some which you'll find out very quickly in the beginning of the game, that there are some sort of mysterious motivations underlying what this guy is up to. I'm not gonna give away the bag, but the point is, he's not the end boss. Let's put it that way. He's a nemesis. He's a character who has gone on a very specific journey and who's discovered some very specific things about what's happening in this world. And you're going to be going on a very similar journey to him. And the extent to which you understand that journey is the extent to which you yourself are transformed by the game experience. Our motivation for the Jackal character is really the Kurtz character from Heart of Darkness. He's sort of like in the original Far Cry. You have the sort of mad scientist who's found the dark side of man by combining him with animals and making sort of mutant hybrid creatures. In our game, it's like an ordinary man who has no powers of any kind, who's discovered sort of the darker side of his own nature, and it's more of a psychological concept than a sort of a science fiction concept, if you want. So you're going to need to sort of at least come to understand the worldview of the Jackal in order to fully confront him in the end.
All right, now I know you've answered this question countless times, but I'm going to take an opportunity here to ask you once again, because you yourself just mentioned it. So, Yeah.
There are no mutant powers, no magic, no psychic powers, no superpowers, no spells, nothing. The game is realistic, and when you hear us talking, as we often do, about becoming a monster, it's a psychological journey. It is not a literal journey. So there.
Okay, well, once and for all, that question should be settled. Now, the thing is, you seem to be very interested in the immersion and the way that the players want to experience the game. You've included incredible technology. We've got weather patterns, day-night cycles. We have different NPCs. We have faction interaction. What about the gamer who just wants to run and gun? What about the gamer who just loves to blow everything up?
Well, there's certainly a lot of stuff to blow up. I think the way the missions in the game are structured, even though the order you will be getting the missions in is sort of determined by the dramatic needs of the story and by the dynamic systems that are driving it, your missions in their simplest form are always very simple. They are go here and blow up this thing, or go here and kill this person, or go here and steal this thing. It's only through the interaction with the buddies, it's only through trying to find the optional ways to do missions that things become more complicated, and if you want to think about different ways of doing things, you're absolutely welcome to. If you just want to play kind of a linear shooter, and you want the excitement of that, I mean, it's linear in the sense that you have to go from point to point to point. It's just there aren't any walls, so you can go the direction that you want. We don't put in walls for those players who want them. You're going to have to connect the dots. That's what we ask from casual gamers who want a pure, straightforward shooting experience.